Welcome to Project Quiver, a father-daughter journey across the globe to capture the artistry and spirit of the world's finest traditional bow carvers. I'm Todd, the father. Ella is my daughter. Together we're on a mission to create a stunning coffee table book that profiles more than a dozen master bowyers and their unparalleled skill. For each chapter, we travel to the bowyer's workshop, carve a bow under his guidance, photograph his woodcraft in detail, and share his story here on the Salish Wolf podcast. The book is called Quiver, The Art of Life Through Bowcraft. And this journey, our living story, is Project Quiver. Phil, it's great to see you, man.
It's great to see you again, too.
So when are you hitting the mountains?
So next week, probably, we start snowboarding again. So we will see. It's not enough.
How long's the season normally?
Not normally from 1st of December, most of the time till end of April. So plenty of time to do snowboarding. And skiing, of course. But I prefer snowboarding.
The whole family, or is it just you?
My wife is snowboarding. I'm snowboarding, but we all do skiing as well. So we learned it as well. My kids are skiing because I told them first skiing, then snowboarding. And my boy is starting to do snowboarding this winter.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for doing this. Thanks for hopping on the call. And also, thank you for hosting us on such short notice this, when was it, October?
Yes,
that
it was
amazing. So, we had a bowyer who had been lined up for our project in Kyrgyzstan, Jiri Tengri of Tengri Bows, and he had an injury, had to pull out. You were recommended by numerous people who were featuring in Project Quiver. And so we reached out to you, and I think within like a week, we had it scheduled to come and see you. And you and your wife, your family, you guys were amazing hosts. So thank you so much for that.
Thanks for having me, and it was a pleasure to have you there. Although we only had 2 days, right? But I think we made the best out of it.
It was quick. It was quick, but yeah. But yeah, we did it. We did what we came to accomplish, and I learned a ton. And that was actually even more important for me, is getting in there and spending time with you and learning the way you do things and working with wood the way that you have learned to do it. So it was really beneficial. And then you gifted me a bow, which I just want to say thank you so much. That was incredibly generous of you. And both bows have arrived safely back in Canada, so I'll be reunited with them in December, and we'll take some good photographs of them.
That's good to know that they're all safely arrived in Canada.
Yeah,
at least
all
mine.
14 bows that we.
All 14 bows.
Yeah, okay. All 14 bows that we carved for the book made it. So that was a relief. Yeah.
That is very good, because that was your mission, right? To learn something and to have 14 bows for your book.
Yeah, exactly. How did you start with bow carving?
I started bow carving already 13, 14 years ago. And, when I was a kid, we used to play in the mountains with our little stick bows made from hazel. And I think that was kind of always in my brain, always in my memory, but somehow forgotten, you know what I mean, when you grow up. And then I was working for quite a long time in the software business, which is, you earn good money, of course, but in the end of the day, you maybe have produced a few lines of code, but it's nothing you can grab, you know what I mean? Nothing you can hold in your hands in the end of the day. And so the feeling came back. I wanted to do something with my hands again. So I came back to making bows. I think that's the connection to my childhood somehow. And the feeling was there, I want to make a bow. And then I bought my first book, and then the journey started with a Christmas present from my family. They bought me my first stave.
What kind of wood?
It was ash. I had no tools, no nothing, no idea, just my book. I bought just a few tools and had no workshop, nothing. So I made everything out in the garden on a wooden garden table. And yeah, it was quite some fun, quite a challenge. I was out there in the snow, so I couldn't wait to start. So I was out there in the snow. It was snowing, and I was carving the bow. So it was fun. It was fun.
That's
And
awesome. What was the book?
the book was called Das Bogenbauer Buch, which means the bowyer's book. Yeah, it's not the bowyer's Bible. I know there's something like this available, but it's just a German book from German bowyers or Swiss bowyers. Yeah, that's it. It was fun.
Yeah. And you carved that first bow entirely from what you learned in that book?
Yes, yes. Right. All all the information I had, I got from the book, and yeah, it was quite a challenge, of course, because they just give you final measures of the bow. You know what I mean? And you going there, but you don't
Yeah.
know what to do in between, because the stave was thick like this, and then you start to carve, and you wonder when it starts to bend and everything. So that's it. So learning by doing.
What was it that you carved?
Pardon?
What kind of bow did you carve?
It was a simple flat bow, so nothing special, but it worked. It's still in my workshop, and it's still shooting around 30
Yeah.
pounds something. So it's
And
still shooting. Still works.
and was that enough to spark your passion, or did it take some time before you really started to do it in earnest?
Having the stuff, the rough stuff in my hands started the fire already. So nothing more, nothing more. So I had the staff, I had the book, and I started, and I couldn't stop anymore.
What were the first tools that you bought to do that bow? Because you said you didn't have any tools.
I just bought a draw knife because the book told me I need a draw knife. So it's not that easy to get a draw knife where I live in the shop or wherever. So I found a little shop who is selling tools like that. So I got one, and that's it. I had a rasp at home, I had a saw at home, a file, and that's it. And that's how I started. So nothing else, no card scrape or nothing.
Yeah. And you mentioned it's not easy where you are living. Well, tell the listeners where you are living, and you tell us a little bit about like the landscape where you are, because it's so beautiful.
I'm living in Millstatt, which is a small town close to Millstatter See, which means Millstatter Lake. It's quite a big lake. It's the deepest lake of the state I live in. So it's about, I think, more than 100 meters deep. So it's a beautiful region within the mountains. I'm There are mountains all around. You can see from to Italy to Slovenia, and it's quite a nice place. Yeah, it's quite remote, I would say. Yeah, it's about 900 meters above sea level, and but yeah, the view I think is rewarding, and it's worth it.
Oh, it's amazing. And right outside of your workshop, you have that stunning kind of valley, lake view, mountain view. It's gorgeous. And I don't think you mentioned it. You're in Austria. You mentioned Millstatt, but that's in southern Austria. And we came to you from Slovenia. We came on a train through Slovenia, and you're not too far from the border.
Right, right. I'm not too far from the border, so we are the most southern state of Austria. So we share our border with Italy and Slovenia. So it's not that far to Mediterranean or Adriatic Sea as well. So it's quite good. And as I said before, from where I live, I can see mountains in Slovenia and Italy too. So it's not that far.
And after that first bow, did you start right away on carving others?
Yes. It's when you're a beginner, you don't have your network. You don't know any people, from where I could get wood, because I don't have a forest or something where I can harvest my wood on my own. So I asked my family where they got the stave from, and I didn't know that before, but we have a master bowyer in Carinthia with more than 40 years of experience, who is Micha. He's kind of a friend and mentor now for me. after all these years. And I went there. I showed him my first bow, and he liked it. So that's how it went on. So I always, when I need something or want to know something, I ask him. And back then, I went to his place and bought 2 more staffs. And yeah, we stayed in contact, and he gave me lessons and courses, and yeah, that's how it continued.
And has he been your primary teacher?
Yes, he's been my primary teacher. Of course, when you then make your own experience, you start to search on the internet as well, and you get to know people as well. And I found some friends, I would say, having the same passion. We share our experience, of course, but he's my main teacher. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's Misha's last name?
Wolf, Micha Wolf.
Wolf. And
It's like wolf,
yeah, yeah. He's mentored other bowyers too, right?
right? Other boys too. I think
Yeah.
Sparrow Bows
Yeah.
was
Eric
at his
Strike
place as
Spear. He
well.
mentioned
Yeah,
Misha as well.
yeah,
That's amazing. I would love to see. I'd love to see his work. We did not know about him, and we were planning our project.
yeah. He
Is he still actively
he
carving?
retired. He retired kind of 2 or 3 years back. He was.
Yeah.
It was he was doing it for a living, you know. He was giving courses and lessons, and you could go there for a weekend, like from Friday to Sunday, and carve a bow. You could even stay there. They have a very, very nice 300 or 400 year old farmhouse, which they renovated. So we stayed there for the whole weekend, and it's, when you think my place is remote, this is much more remote. You're in the middle of nowhere. So it's quite cool. And he has a very cool workshop in a very old stable. And yeah,
That sounds
that's it.
amazing.
A very cool place. So yeah, I plan to go there with you. If we would have had 4 days or 5 days, so we definitely should have gone there too as well.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll come back.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. So you started carving bows, and was it something that you intended to do as a kind of a side career, or was it just a full-on passion project at first?
It was full on passion. I was thinking about kind of making a business out of it, but back then the time wasn't right. We were new here in Carinthia. We had our house, everything. Kids were very small and in school, so I decided to go on with my regular job and do this. Keep this as a passion, as a hobby, which now when I think about it and look at it in the mirror, that's, hope you understand what I mean. Um, it's better. It's better now how it is, because if you make a job out of your hobby, you lose your hobby. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when it turns or becomes a job, it's getting, yeah, more stressful. You have to get customers, of course. You have to have the right wood always. You have to satisfy your customers. So you're not doing it for fun anymore, for learning. You're doing it for a living, and it's quite something different. So I now today I like it how it is, and even if it was hard for me back then to say no, I don't make a job out of it, I don't, and that's it. But now it's much better as it is, and the decision was right, definitely.
Yeah. So what does it mean to you as a hobby and as a passion? Like, what has it brought to your life?
It brought a lot to my life, a lot, because when you're doing something with your hands, you have to. It's not making bows only. So you have to make some tools, some helpful stuff you need in the workshop to make different kind of bows. So you learn, you see different sides of the craftsmanship and everything. And the most important thing for me was it taught me patience. It really taught me patience, so, because in the beginning, I was kind of rushing. You know what I mean? So it's it's like you want to see the final result. You want to shoot it. You want to see whether it works or not. And so you're sometimes rushing through the process of making the bow. And so it taught me patience, a lot of patience, and this is very good and helped me to um, calm down a little bit. So that's for me the most important aspect. So everything has its time, and just go with the flow. And yeah, when you have a problem and cannot solve it today, just put it in the corner, sleep one night, and the next day will be much better.
And have you found that has helped in other areas of your life as well?
Of course.
Patience.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Patience is very important, because when you're rushing through life, you miss a lot of things, the small things, for example. And when you're always in this kind of stress mode, it's also not good for your health, of course. And you have to learn that in life. You have to learn it. I learned it.
I'm I'm not amazed because I also know what it feels like to carve bows. But when I started carving bows years ago, you had told me that it was a therapeutic technique.
Mm,
I I wouldn't have known what you were talking about. But pretty much every bowyer who we're featuring in this book and on this project, they say the same thing, that carving bows is their therapy, whether it helps them with stress or anxiety or whatever. It's really helped a lot of people change their lives immensely. It's really incredible.
right. I
So,
100% agree. Mm.
yeah. So that first bow that you carved was out of ash. What do you normally carve bows with now, or what's your favorite bow wood?
I take whatever I can get, and I'm eager to find out what the wood species can do for you, or what they can handle. But to be honest with you, it's not a wood species you find here in our forests. But I love Osage. I love Osage, of course, because you can
Yeah.
do a lot of different styles of bow with it. Second is, I would say, um, ash, because I have made a lot of bows out of ash. Um, Yew is awesome if you could get some, but it's protected here in Austria and it's hard to get it. And of course, elm. So these are, I think, the four most important wood species you can get. So, but I'm honest with you, I love Osage.
Yeah, of course. And I think, sorry, we carved an elm bow, didn't we?
Right, right,
Elm, okay. And then you gifted me a ash bow?
right. It was a ash bow.
Right, okay. Yeah,
Right.
okay. Yeah, it's such beautiful wood to work with, elm and ash, all of those. I'm really excited. I was probably telling you about lemon wood, and I was trying to track it down here in Costa Rica. And now that I know what it looks like, I'm finding it everywhere. I'm so
Yeah,
excited. So
that's good.
I'm planning some harvest missions to go out and take little bits here and there, but it's literally, it grows in abundance here. So my yard, my archery range, like, is surrounded by lemonwood trees that I had no idea until like 3 months ago that existed there.
Yeah,
So
I'm curious how it turns out, and send me photos as soon as you have the first bow finished.
yeah, I will for sure. So with your bow carving, you do sell bows to customers. Do you take custom orders, or is it selling stuff as you finish it?
Um, it's, as I said, it's a hobby, and I, from time to time, I sell one, but not to earn money or anything. So it's just to have some extra money to buy the next stuffs, or some useful tool, but that's it. So I keep it as a hobby, and
Yeah, that's a
that's
common
fine for
theme.
me. Yeah, and that's fine for me.
Yeah,
Most of the bows
and you
I give
carve a
to
hole.
friends just for free because
Yeah,
they're
well,
for
it's very
friends, and
generous. Yeah,
instead of putting them on the shelf and doing nothing with it, so they have a purpose then, right? And so my best friends, I think they are definitely worth it. So they deserve it.
that's awesome. Uh, and you carve a lot of different styles of bows, including some horn bows, right?
Right, I try to. That's my journey in bow carving. I try to find out how all this stuff comes together. So I started with simple flat bows, prim bows, and then I went on to laminated bows with fiberglass stuff like this. So modern bows, and then I went over to horn bows or composite bows, so made from wood, horn, and sinew. And yeah, I'm currently working on one as well. So I'm currently preparing sinew for a new one. So we will see how it turns out. This is also with horn bows, you learn a lot about patience because you have these long periods of time you have to wait until everything dries before you can go on. And if you go on too early, or maybe all the work you put in is gone within a few seconds. So patience is important.
Yeah. What type of horn are you using?
I use buffalo horn, so you don't get it here in Austria. I have a fellow bowyer who is working a lot with horn, and he got quite some good contacts in India because you can get horn with approximately 40 centimeters length here in Austria. So we get it there, we buy it then together, and that's quite good.
And then what are you using for the core? What type of wood?
For the core, I'm using maple, and yeah, it's maple core.
What kind of maple?
Uh, we call it Bergahorn, which, if I translate it that way, it would be like mountain maple.
Okay. And
Yeah,
that's
it,
something you can get locally.
yeah, yeah. That's very easy to get locally because maple
Do you ever carve
is.
self bows from that?
I've never tried it. I know people are doing it, but I never tried it.
Hmm.
I was only using it for composite bows
And what are
because
you?
that's the wood they used also in the past for it.
Okay. And what bows are you working on right now? You got a horn one on the go. Are you making any a self bow right now?
Yes, yes. I prepared one more Mollegabe bow, which is just right before floor tillering. I mean, I prepared two of them, one from Osage, one from Ash, and yeah, they're waiting in the workshop right now to be finished. Yeah. So I have three bows in the making now.
Nice. And you have an interesting style, at least that I found. It was unique among all the other bowyers who I carved with, and that you work with. Is it planes? Is that what you say? Like you bring together different planes. Can you talk a bit about
Yeah.
your style and how that came about?
Yes. Yes. There are two reasons I'm using that or why I saw it or learned it. So the first thing is there is the book by Dean Torches, which was a famous bowyer in the US. I think in English it's called Hunting the Osage Bow. And he's using that methodology as well. And my mentor, my teacher, Micha, uses it as as well, and he taught me how to use it, and to me it definitely makes sense because it's easier to see straight lines. You know what I mean? Or follow clear lines instead of round areas. So when you have edges, you can follow them
Yeah.
with your eyes and you can see if something is going on. And so the idea behind it is that you have straight lines or at least clear lines. I think it's better to explain it that way, which are following like the back of your bow and everything. So you can transfer the curvature of the back of the bow to the belly of the bow, and so you you get it pretty easy, I think, that way.
So, what I think I had noticed in the carving process is that through all stages up until the final stage, that sharp angles all around the bow. You don't have anything rounded. It's all flat planes coming together at different angles. Is that correct?
Right, right. That's it. That's it. Of course, I round the edges and the corners then before we start bending the bow, of course. But during the process of carving it, it's all clear, clear edges, clear lines, and that's it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the one that I carved, was it a mulligatawny that we carved?
Yeah, right, right.
I don't, yeah. Okay. It looks like a stealth fighter jet in the way that we kept some of the really sharp angles on the outer limbs. It looks
Yeah,
really, really unique that way. It's very cool.
yeah. That's how I like it because um, s- for this bow, it has this stiff limbs at the end. This and normally they are kind of round, but I kept it then after having all these areas like this. I kept it then triangular and just
Hmm.
carved a hollow faces on each side, and I really liked it because it looks, yeah, the triangular shape is pretty stable, pretty strong, and then it looks to me it looks kind of modern. So I like to do it Rockhauser style. So I mix up certain styles maybe, but I like that.
Kaiser style. I like that. Yeah. And speaking of the Rockhauser style, you've written a couple books on building bows. Can you talk a bit about those?
Right, right. I told you I started with one book, which was that thick and that big, and there's a lot of information y- which, in my opinion, you don't need to do your first bow. The most important things are kind of missing, but you get a lot of information about history of bows and everything, which is of course quite important to understand everything, where it's coming from and so on. But when you want to make a bow, you want to get started, right? And that was my idea. So I wrote a book, which is a kind of a pocket book. Do you call it that way? And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, literally, you
yeah,
designed it to fit in the pocket. So, yes.
right, right. And I kept some pages in between the chapters empty, um, to have room for your personal notes, because everyone has its own journey with making bows. So I thought it would be quite helpful to have pages to note down your experience, your information, and how it works for you. And yeah, that was the idea. So one simple small book that fits in your pocket, you can take it into your workshop and really start making bows right from scratch without any further information, just about making bows. Which tools you need, how you get started, the shape of a flat bow and stuff like this. And that's it.
And when did you write the first one?
Pardon?
When did you write the first book?
Oh, it was about, I think it was approximately 5 years ago. You know, it was quite a beginning of this COVID time, so I found some time to reflect on my work, and I had some extra time, and so I started writing, which was quite a good process for me as well, because it was kind of after 10 years or nearly 10 years, you sat there and write about your work, or I wrote about my work, and which was pretty cool, because you can see what you did, what you achieved, and you can also see what you would do different now. So it was, for me, kind of a reflection, summing up the first 10 years, kind of. So from this point of view, this was also very helpful for me as well. Yeah.
And what's the title?
The title is Bogenbau, die Anfänge oder nur Versuch macht klug. That's what it's called in German. So Bogenbau just simply means bow making or bow carving, and die Anfänge means the beginning, and then it's nur Versuch macht klug. That's fun to translate. It's kind of just trying makes you smarter, something like this. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So just try
And
and
then
find out.
yeah. And then recently you published your second one. What's that? How's
Yeah,
that
right.
different? And what's that one called?
It's based on the first one, of course. The idea behind it was the same: small book for your pocket and your workshop, empty pages in between. But I tried to explain like further techniques, which you don't need from the very beginning, but which are helpful when you want to go on, like splicing the bow, um, or the staff and stuff like this, or putting horn knocks on, and how to make handle wraps and everything. That's in there.
And what's the title on that one?
Uh, that's the second one is also called Bogenbau, of course, and yeah, I haven't touched it quite in a while. The second one. Oh, wait a second.
You gave me two
Is
copies, but I don't have it here with me.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry, I'm back.
No problem.
Sorry. Yeah, it's ridiculous that I forget the name of my own book, but when I was writing the book, for me it was harder for the first book. It was pretty simple and pretty easy to find a title, because it's something like the
Yeah.
beginning, you know. And for the second book, it was very
Okay.
hard for me to find a title, and I was thinking about a lot of different titles. And yeah, here it is. So it's Bogenbau, weiterführende Techniken oder nur Übung macht den Meister. So that means Bogenbau, it's carving a bow like something like this. And then it's weiterführende Technik, something like specialized techniques, and then the rest is nur Übung macht den Meister, which is a German phrase, which means only practicing makes you a master, something like this.
All right.
Yeah.
Where
And
can people
yeah,
get those?
I published it on my own. I don't have a publisher. You can do that in Austria, that you self-publish your stuff. And one you can get. One is sold at a German magazine, uh, which they just traded it to get a few books a year, and if they want one, and they just have it on their homepage for me, for example. And the rest it's just direct message to me on Instagram, for example, and then I send them the book,
Nice.
a copy of the book.
Yeah.
So it's nothing.
Great.
For me, the most important thing is I don't want to earn money with that. So it's not earning money. So the book is quite
It
quite
takes money
cheap.
to
And
publish a book, so
yeah, I know, I heard it. And
yeah.
but the idea is only I want to share my knowledge. That's all I want to do, because there's no secret, no
Mhm.
nothing, and I made my experience, and I want to share that knowledge. That's all. And I think most of the books I have given to people who wanted to know about more about bow making. So it's not too expensive making them. I made everything on my own except the layout, which a friend of me helped me. Layout of the book. He's doing that for a living. And the rest is just my own stuff. Most of the stuff. It's just about sharing knowledge.
Yeah. Well, and that's so much about what bow carving is. Almost all the bowyers want to share their knowledge. And that's what I found with Ella, and I found everywhere we went. Everyone was more than happy to share their knowledge and experience and teach us how to carve amazing bows. Other than Micha, who else has had a role or an influence in your bow carving?
Got to know a pretty cool guy, which is also in Austria, Matthias. He's a really cool guy, and he helped me out with wood from time to time. He is also pretty cool and amazing, and a really cool bowyer. And of course, I was reading books, tried to read books, different books like Dean Torches, the book I told you before, was very, very good for me, and I really loved it. And from time to time, I still read it because now I understand things which I have overseen when I was reading it for the first time. And he also writes it like a novel. You know, the goal in his book is to have a bow for him and his friend to go bow hunting, and so he describes it like a novel. So they meet, they start to make their bow, and so on until they go hunting. So these are the most influential persons, I would say, for me.
Yeah. And do you teach others?
Yes, from time to time I teach others. So, but I, it's just one person uh, at a time, and it, yeah, and it has to kind of, um, we have to match somehow. You know what I mean? So I did make it. Let's make it simple. I decide who I want to teach because I want to have fun in the workshop. I want to have a good mood in the workshop. I want to have a person who is interested because that makes it much easier to work with. The goal is not to have a bow in the, I mean, the goal is to have a working bow in the end, of course, you know what I mean? But the journey
Yeah.
to until you have
Yes, the
your
journey.
bow is for me very important.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I resonate with that completely. Like being stuck in a workshop for 3 or 4 days with someone who you don't align with is it's probably not the healthiest thing to do when it's your passion.
Right. Right, right.
Yeah.
So it's all about the fun and the passion.
Yeah. You mentioned you carve mostly with hand tools. Now, have you acquired other things beyond the original draw knife and rasps? And if
Yes,
so, like
yes.
what are your go-to tools?
Of course, a bunch of files, card scrapers, and draw knives and a few years back I bought a bandsaw, which helps me a lot when you get to get out the rough shape of out of the out of the staff. Because I told you about patience before, but the fun starts for me when when not carving out the rough shape, shaping the boat and until it starts to bend. That's for me the very important process. That's the only time when I use a electrical powered machine. So this is my bandsaw, and that's it.
And for your staves, are you buying all of them or do you harvest some of your own?
Yeah, as I said before, I don't have my own forest or where I can go to. So I ask the farmers in the neighborhood. So if they cut some trees and there's something I can use, I ask them, of course. And from time to time, I get some wood over there. And the other source for bowwood for me is my network, my friends I got to know, and we're trading wood then, or I simply buy a few stuffs from them, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are some of the more unique woods that you've worked with?
Um, you know, unique for me. You is very
Well, you
very
meant,
special.
yeah.
You is very special because it's not, maybe it's not kind of unique, but it's kind of rare, and it's really, really hard to get it in Austria for a reasonable price. So I am very, very happy when I can get one staff, and then I really keep it then in my small workshop until it fits, until the time is right, and then I take it out. So that's for me unique, you know?
Yeah. It's amazing it's not more available because there are so many yew trees in Austria and Switzerland. I think after we left you, we went to Salzburg, seeing huge yew trees everywhere. But like you said, I guess they're protected.
Right.
That
They're protected.
changes things.
Yeah.
And
But, it's
have you
good.
used in? Yeah, yeah. Of course, it's the yew. As a lot of bowyers know, the yew tree was pretty much decimated um, back in the heyday of bow carving. So Um, you mentioned you give bows to a lot of your friends. Are any of your other friends into carving, or is it more just they're into
It,
archery,
it's
or they just get bows because they're friends with you?
I think it's the second and the third one. A few of them, of course, are in archery. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. And the other friends, they find it amazing what I do, and they like. Yeah, they see it as a piece of art. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Have any of them carved a bow with you?
Yes, one started uh, a year back, but the bow is still unfinished in my workshop. So here's a lack of
Really?
time.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's patience, you know. I'm still
Uh,
waiting.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I wonder what it is that's so unique in bowyers that like once we carve one, we're just absolutely hooked, and like it's
Yeah.
something we'll probably do until the day we die, and then other people just have no interest whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know where this comes from. So when you're hooked, and then it goes on. I mean, there are times for me, it's there are times you're not feeling okay, for making bows, and then you make a few less a year. But there are times when you're kind of really on fire, and then you one after the other, even if you don't need them or even if you don't sell them, but you have them. You made them, you learned a lot, you got
yeah,
a new experience, and that's it. So when you're hooked, you're hooked. So when you're on fire, it's
yeah.
yeah, just about making bows.
what what other hobbies do you have? Of course, there's snowboarding. What else do you do though?
Yes, snowboarding. When I was younger, we went a lot of times to Spain for surfing, just like you do. We are not that lucky to have the ocean right next door, but snowboarding, of course, was always my favorite. And mountain biking, I do it with my son now. In the past, I've been doing it for quite a long time now, and I really love it. I have all the mountains around me, the lake, so it's quite a nice area to do mountain biking.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how old's your
At
son?
least 2 times a week. At least 2 times a week I go mountain biking. My son, turned 12.
Oh, okay. Same age as my son. Yeah, it's such a fun age to spend time with him and do things like that. And then your daughter is younger, right? How old's
Right,
your
right.
daughter?
She's soon 10. She's currently 9, yeah, but soon she turns 10, yeah.
And do either of them do archery with you or even come into the workshop and learn about bow carving?
Um, I I don't force them to do that. They have to come on their own. And, my boy is not so interested. You know, I don't force them because when they come on their own and say, I want to do that, it's much better. And they normally stay then with what they do and they love what they do. When I force them and say, you
Absolutely.
just have
Yeah.
to learn to hold a tool or something, do it now, it wouldn't work. So my son is not that interested. My daughter is much more interested, and she comes to me to the workshop making stuff, even if it's not related to bows or anything. But she comes to the workshop, she uses a hammer, some nails, puts something together and is happy, and that makes me happy as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, she joined us quite a bit when we were in there. It was great.
Right, right.
And then outside
And
outside of your workshop, you have a little farm. Sorry, go ahead.
and yeah, and they can do everything in the workshop, you know. I even have some sketches and drawings on my table because they were allowed to draw on my work table with a pencil, and I still have them right in the corner. They are already 5 years old, and I don't clean the table right in this area because it's so fun what's standing there and the pictures. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome. I love that.
yeah. So it's just right in
And
the corner. I don't touch it. I hope it stays there forever.
yeah. And then outside, you have beautiful chickens running around, a little flock of silky chickens, which are adorable, and then a few cats that sometimes chase the chickens. It's a beautiful,
Right.
beautiful like bucolic setting that you have, and all the fruit trees and everything that you're growing in your garden overlooking the lake. Yeah, it's really gorgeous.
Yes, yes. We have this few chicken just for the kids, you know. They don't make a lot of work. The kids take care of them, or we do, our parents, you know. We get some fresh eggs, and that's it. So we love animals. We love animals, all of us.
What's any future things in the working for bow carving? Are you continuing on just with passion projects as they come up?
Um, I'm from time to time I try to do different things, so try to evolve as a bowyer and as a person. So I'm always looking for new projects. I really love making simple flat bows or the Molligabe design. Uh, I learned to do like laminated bows, which I now can say I don't want to do it any further because it's like, yeah, it's just straight. You know what I mean? There's no like grain you have to follow. So I prefer wooden bows. That's what I learned. I love to make composite bows or horn bows, and I still have to learn a lot of it. It takes quite some time to make them. I've made a few of them. Each one was getting kind of better, but they're not perfect. And um, this is I want to improve on the next maybe half a year or year. So that's why I have another one in the making. And yeah, this is where I want to learn much more because it's really cool. It's like, yeah, just when you think about sinew and the sinew backing, it's just like fiberglass, but it's like hundreds and thousands of years old. You know what I mean? The technique, and
Yeah.
that's amazing, and that's what I want to improve.
Is there anything about bow building at this stage that intimidates you?
Uh, Intimidates means like
Or
scares me
is
or
there any
something.
stage in your yeah, is there any stage in a bow building process where you feel like anxiety or kind of like, oh, this is for me it's always the final stages of the tiller. It's always like, oh god, like, I got to pull this thing to 29 inches. I hope it doesn't break. But the more I worked with expert bowyers such as yourself, the more I realized that those a lot of bowyers just don't have that same anxiety that I have about that.
Um, Yes, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I really take my time when tillering the bow and really go slowly, inch by inch, down to the final draw length. From time to time, you have to realize that maybe the full draw length is not the right way to go, and you have to keep it kind of shorter. But that's another story. And for me, in the past, for me, it was just like for you that it's this tailoring process when you come to this final last inches that that was really scaring me. And but now it doesn't really scare me anymore because if it breaks at this stage you have made the mistake much earlier, you know what I mean. And so I try
Right.
to
Yeah.
so I'm not scared of that anymore, and I try to focus on the process and making things right from the very beginning then to the very end. So I'm not scared anymore.
Well, I'm glad you were able to help me through that because it's especially for me on this project, knowing I had 14 bowyers and 14 bows to make. I wanted to successfully do all 14 of them, which fortunately I was able to do. But that was, like you said, in our case, we were very rushed. Only had a couple days to make a beautiful bow, but we did it. So yeah,
Somehow we did it, yeah.
Eh, somehow we did it, and we had fun doing it. It was a good journey. Yeah.
Right, right.
Uh, Anything else you want to share, Phil? Any other experiences or stories? And also, can you let the listeners know where they can find out more about you, your website or Instagram or social media?
Yeah, yeah. They can find me now only on Instagram, because I was shutting down nearly all my social media in the last year because I had some problems on this famous Facebook, where someone stole my video content and everything, and also the stories I wrote. So without even mentioning me or giving credits to me. So I had some problems with that in the past, so I shut down my Facebook, everything. I kept only Instagram because it still helps me to stay in contact with the bowyers, which are not from Austria or from Europe. So I'm in contact with them from time to time, and that helps a lot. So I'm there, and you can find me there. I haven't made a web page for me yet, because, as I said, it's not a business, and the people who want to get in touch with me, they can find me on Instagram, and they can get in touch with me. Everyone is welcome to ask questions. I'm willing to share my knowledge. And, and yeah, as I said, it's not a business. That's why I don't have a homepage, and I have my books to share my knowledge, my Instagram. That's it for now.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your knowledge. And I'm very fortunate to be a recipient of that. Being in your workshop with you, carving a bow was an incredible experience. And I'm really excited to have you featured in the upcoming book Quiver, along with the other 13 bowyers. It's going to be I think, a beautiful book that is a legacy for primitive archery.
Yes, thank you very much for the chance to be in there, and for the chance to get to know you and your daughter. It was, yeah, that's what life is about, right? Getting to know new people, new experiences, and making the best out of it. And I really like it.
Yeah. And soon, once my workshop is finished here, you can come to Costa Rica, stay with me. We'll do some surfing and carve some lemonwood bows.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I would like to surf again. So I maybe have to restart everything from so from the beginning, but I would love to do that. I really would love
Yeah,
to do that. I miss the
that'd be
ocean.
great. Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, thank you, Phil. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you and the work that you're doing and everything that you shared with me and my daughter. And I hope we do you an honor in our profile of you in the book. And look forward to our ongoing relationship.
I think you will make a very good book out of it, and all the content will be nice and great because you're the right person to do it, right? You try to understand what bowyers are thinking and what the idea behind bow making is, and so I think you're the right guy to do it together with your daughter.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Project Quiver on Salish Wolf. Follow our journey on Instagram at Project Quiver as we seek out the world's most extraordinary traditional bowyers, and join our newsletter at projectquiver.com. Our coffee table book, Quiver, The Art of Life Through Bowcraft, arrives in 2026. We are honored to share with you the beauty, history, and magic of traditional archery.